What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Hold the Phone podcast. I'm your host, Alex, joined by my co-host, Ryan. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Long time no see. As you guys can probably tell, it's been a while since we've recorded an episode. Life's been pretty crazy for me and Alex the last few weeks, so we appreciate you guys being patient with us and bearing with us, and we're ready to get into it.
Yeah, we're back. We're back for the playoff push, and Week 17 is among us. There are 1,000 scenarios. We were just talking about this beforehand. You want to just jump right into, I guess, the playoff seeding and all of Week 17 and all that?
Yeah. Do you want to start with the AFC or the NFC?
I say let's start with the NFC just because it's a little bit easier.
Yeah.
So I think the teams that have clinched are the Packers, Saints, Seahawks, and Bucks, which means that there's still 3 playoff positions available. Right now, Washington holds the 4th division, and then there's the Rams and the Bears are in. Arizona, the Cowboys, and the Giants are pretty much all on the outside looking in. With that being said, I guess let's start with the NFC West scenarios, just because it's basically Rams Cardinals. Whoever wins, you're in. If you lose, you're out. And the Rams are without Jared Goff.
Yeah, I was about to say, things are not looking good for the Rams right now. And Cooper Kupp also just tested positive for COVID.
Yeah, I believe he's out.
Yeah, he's out, as well as defensive tackle Michael Brockers, who is not as big as a name as Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey, but he's a big part of that defense.
Yeah, so right now the Rams are sitting at the 6th spot, and Arizona's at the 8th, which obviously if Arizona wins, they're just going to jump them and into the 6th, and the Rams are out, which would kind of suck because – although, wait, how are the – oh, never mind. The Rams are 9-6, so they'd go 9-7. And Arizona would go 9-7, but they'd hold the tiebreaker. So, yeah, they would get in. Arizona's dealing with a little bit of injury problems. I know Kyler Murray was on the injury report earlier this week with a lower leg injury, but he should be back in time. So, I guess if I had to make a pick there, I think just because of how many people are out for the Rams, I'm going to have to go with Arizona.
Yeah. I was about to say, I mean, the Rams are basically functioning with their backup quarterback without their wide receiver one. I mean – unless Cam Akers has like an absolute monster day on a pretty good Cardinal defense, yeah, I'm going Cardinals here too.
All right, and then I guess we'll talk about the available spots, and then we can talk about the 1 seed. So the Bears are pretty much in the same scenario as the Cardinals. They're currently in right now in the 7th seed. I believe they have to. Can they fall back out?
That's what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask, is there a way that the Cardinals and the Rams can both make it and the Bears don't make it with a loss?
I think so, but it's weird. I believe there has to be
Week 17.
A tie. Hang on. I'm trying to look it up. Okay. Where's the NFC? So Arizona can clinch a playoff berth. Yeah, if Arizona wins or Arizona ties and Chicago loses – Chicago clinches their playoff berth if they win, if Arizona loses, or if Chicago and Arizona tie. So Chicago's in pretty much no matter what unless there's a tie. With that being said, I would imagine Chicago wants to win this game because they are currently the last seed, which means that they would have to play the Green Bay Packers again. No, the Packers would get bye week, so they'd go up against the Saints.
Yeah, which would be a pretty good game.
Which would be very interesting, yeah. And so, yeah, basically the Bears are in. It's really seeding. They can move around. Same with Arizona. They just have to win, and they're in. And then we get down to the NFC East, which is just very confusing. Actually, it's pretty simple. Washington, you win, you're in. Currently, I believe Taylor Heineke is supposed to be their starting quarterback because I don't know if Alex Smith is cleared yet. But maybe he has.
I think I don't know if he's been officially cleared, but I know he was taking first-team reps this week.
Okay. And then it gets weird. Okay, so the Giants win the division if the Giants win and Washington loses.
Same with the Cowboys, I think.
And the Cowboys, yeah. So basically, if Washington loses, it's whoever wins between Dallas and the Giants. is getting in. So I don't even know which team I'd want to see get in. Because if Washington doesn't have a quarterback, I feel like the scariest team would probably be the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, they are starting to put it together. I think they're still on that. They're riding that 3-game win streak. If Alex Smith is healthy, if Alex Smith is healthy, I think I'm going with the football team.
Yeah.
Just because their defense is terrifying. I mean, Montez Sweat, Chase Young, Kendall Fuller. Is it Kendall or Kyle
Yeah.
Fuller? Which Fuller brother do they have?
I think they have Kyle.
I was about to say, I know one's on the Bears. Yeah, I think you're right because I think Kendall Fuller's on the Bears.
I'm looking it up. Kendall Fuller is Washington.
Gotcha.
Kyler is the other team you just said.
The Bears.
So yeah, it's a little bit of a mess down there. And then weirdly in the NFC, the number 1 seed is still available. Because Green Bay lost last week, so they won, but
yeah,
the Saints also won or something. So in order for Green Bay to clinch, they have to win, or Seattle has to lose. And in order for the Saints to win, the Saints need the most help. They have to win, Green Bay has to lose, and Seattle has to win. And then Seattle has to, for them to get it, Seattle has to win, Green Bay has to lose, and New Orleans has to lose. So the easiest option is for the Packers to win, which is actually kind of nice because it means they're playing the Bears, and they're not just going to rest everybody because they probably want the first round bye. So it would make sense for them to go ahead and play their starters.
I didn't know that Seattle was still in contention for the 1 seed because I know they had a really bad 3 or 4 game stretch, and I thought they were out of it. I thought Green Bay and New Orleans was a game or 2 ahead of them, but I guess not. That's crazy. The fact that they're still in it, how crazy would that be?
Seed? Seattle has the same record as the Saints. They're both 11-4, and then Green Bay is 12-3. So yeah, it's definitely up in the air. Now, if I'm Green Bay, I'm playing hard for that first round bye. Because could you imagine going to Lambeau?
Yeah.
In December? No, not even in January. So I guess now we jump over to the AFC, which if you thought the NFC was confusing, the AFC is even worse. I don't even know where to start, right?
Honestly, I guess we could just pick a spot, pick a team at this point because it's all winning you're in kind of things.
Okay, let's go with Cleveland. So Cleveland is playing the Steelers. The Steelers have already announced that Mason Rudolph is going to be their starting quarterback and that they're probably going to rest more players. They haven't really announced who's being rested other than Ben Roethlisberger. And the Browns is pretty much win, and you're in. And honestly, I think they probably will win just because the Steelers are going to rest people. But could you imagine the storyline if Mason Rudolph's the one that kicks the Browns out of the playoffs?
Yeah, that would be insane. Well, the whole benching Ben Roethlisberger for a week and starting Mason Rudolph was really surprising to me because that's essentially them saying, we don't care if we get the 2 seed. Because right now
they can't get the 2 seed. You guys have it locked.
No, we don't.
Yeah, you do.
I don't think we do, man. Because if we lose and they win, they have the 2 seed. Because right now we have the same record. We just have the tiebreaker over them because of the head-to-head because we beat them a few weeks ago.
That's what I'm saying. I think you'd have the tiebreaker even if both of you lost.
No, but I'm saying if they win and we lose, they'd have a game over us, so they'd have the 2 seed.
Okay. I agree.
It's not likely, but it could happen. Especially, they put a beating on the Cleveland Browns about midway through this season. It's certainly doable, but
like you
I was
said,
surprised.
I think they just don't care. I think they're content with the 3 seed. Because honestly, if you get the 2 seed, the Bills right now would play you'd play the Browns. Which actually, that doesn't really make sense because I feel like the Ravens are the toughest matchup for the Steelers, and that's who they would play right now if the playoffs were to start.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Browns win and you're in. it's pretty much everybody winning you're in the last 4 spots. So the Titans have to beat the Texans in order to get in. The Dolphins have to beat the Bills. Ravens have to beat the Bengals. And Browns have to beat the Steelers. The only place that gets weird is if one of those teams loses, the Colts, basically they're going to beat the Jaguars because the Jaguars are tanking. So they would jump to whichever team loses. I think the most likely team is the Miami Dolphins. I don't think they win. Unless you guys rest a bunch of people, which I don't think you will.
I don't think we are.
I don't think the Dolphins are going to win because Fitzpatrick is on the COVID list, so he's not playing this week, which means it's Tua versus the Bills.
And I don't – first off, everyone's, like, commending Brian Flores for, like, doing what he's doing, playing this little quarterback committee. I hate it. I think it's ridiculous.
Very stupid.
But, like, the fact that, like, Tua's going to have to play this full game against a Bills defense who's, like, finally shaping up. And I don't – like you said, I don't think we're resting many people. The
problem with the Dolphins is they can't commit to either, hey, Tua's our future, or, hey, we might have a chance to go deep in the playoffs. Let's see what we have here. When, in my head, play Tua. If you lose, you lose. But, like, you're messing this kid's future up. He's supposed to be your franchise, and we're just going to keep benching you because you're not – he wasn't even playing terrible in that game.
Yeah.
I don't think he had any – I mean, granted, I think he had like 98 yards, but he didn't have any turnovers. And you brought him in to be your franchise, and now you're just ruining his momentum and his confidence by pulling him constantly. And to be honest, Miami, you're not going to win. You might win a wild card, and that's it. Like, you're not good enough to compete for the AFC this year. So why not let Tua just ride?
I mean, I'm not sure who follows us, and, you know, I'm not sure if we have any Dolphins fans that follow us, and this might get them all riled up. But do you know what Tua really reminds me of right this moment?
Jeez, what? You're going to break my heart with this one, Ryan. I just know it. What?
The way he's been playing these last 3 or 4 games, he reminds me of Tyrod Taylor. Not aggressive with his passes at all short passes. I mean, he got benched in the third or the fourth quarter with 94 yards. That's Tyrod Taylor play right there.
Yeah.
That's exactly what Tyrod did. He didn't take any risk. It was all short. Check down Charlie's.
Which is weird, too, because Tua in college was not that kind of player. He would constantly go deep. He would take risks. And now it just looks like he's scared. And I can't tell if it's because it could be because if you mess up one time, you're getting pulled.
Right, exactly.
So, what's Miami's plan next year? Are you going to have a quarterback battle between Fitz and Tua?
Well, Fitz is a free agent after this year, so it's really I'm curious to see if they sign another big-name backup quarterback.
Yeah, but who?
Jameis Winston. Dwayne Haskins.
No.
Oh, my God. Could you imagine? Twitter would explode if Tua Tagovailoa got benched for Dwayne Haskins. Could you imagine, Alex?
Dwayne's coming to Carolina. I'm telling you right now.
I like it. I'm here for it. You and I have talked about it this week.
I have mixed feelings. It makes me nervous. He's obviously like Vince Young and DeMarcus Russell. I think he just doesn't have it in him. I think he's talented. I just don't think he is motivated at all.
Yeah.
He reminds me of Kelvin Benjamin. That's a bit of a stretch. Kelvin was actually pretty good for a few years, but you just lose motivation and you just don't want to be a quarterback, I guess. Which him being so bad, this is off topic, but him being so inconsistent, everybody's always down on the Ohio State quarterback is just going to drop Justin Fields farther. Unless he comes out tonight and balls out against Clemson, Justin Fields is going to drop to the 6 to 12 picks in this draft instead of being one of the top 2.
I was about to say I'm very hesitant about Justin Fields just because of that Ohio State quarterback stipulation. Because, their track record's horrible. Dwayne Haskins, Cardale Jones, J.T. Barrett, Braxton Miller.
He was at Georgia and then decided to transfer because he wasn't going to get to play.
Well, that's what I was going to say is, of all the Ohio State quarterbacks, I have a feeling Justin Fields has what it takes to break that trend. Mm-hmm. And not be that guy, but just because he's coming from Ohio State, I have that stipulation. And it's also one thing we have to take into consideration too is different coaching staff. Those are all Urban Meyer guys, and I can't remember what the name of the Ohio State coach is now, but
Ryan Day.
Yeah, Justin Fields is the first Ryan Day OSU quarterback,
I
so
would, I
maybe it's
mean,
a different take.
as a Carolina fan, I want Justin Fields. I hope he drops far enough that Carolina can draft him.
That would be such a great fit. And honestly, like I'm against you guys taking your quarterback in the first round unless you get a guy like Fields. And I would say Trask, but Trask looked awful against Oklahoma.
Oh, my quarterback ranking, obviously, because Lawrence is like that's not going to happen. I either want Justin Fields or Trey Lance, the guy from North Dakota State.
Yeah.
But I don't think I don't think they draft a quarterback unless Fields drops far enough that they can get him.
I really liked I really like Kyle Pitts in Carolina if you guys can't get a quarterback.
Me too. I saw a mock draft that had him going there, and I'm like, dude, we need a tight end desperately. Did you see what? This is again off topic, a little bit of draft talk, but did you see what a NFL exec said about BYU's quarterback Zach Wilson?
That he's super privileged.
They roasted him. I'm gonna see if I can try and find it.
My friend sent it to me on Instagram. If you want me to pull that up.
Yeah, actually, just do it really quick because it's like a short little thing, but like it is really, like it's not good. They're like he's like a daddy's boy, he's privileged, and all this other stuff. And I'm like, this is a kid that hasn't even interviewed with you. So who are you getting this from? Is this coming from his coaches? Like, what is happening?
Right. All right. Here it is. Anonymous NFC scout on Zach Wilson. He has character concerns. Rich kid who is an entitled brat. Uncle owns JetBlue. Parents are paying. Not a leader. Selfish, and he's a know-it-all. Oh, sheesh. That's a lot to unpack, man.
It's like Johnny Manziel.
Yeah. At BYU of all places.
I love that dude. So, or at least I liked him as a prospect, but apparently I need to back off on that a little bit. So we're going to the playoffs. The Bills are the second seed. I'm just going to assume you guys beat the Dolphins and you're the second seed.
I would love that. And honestly,
where's our confidence level, all right?
That we beat the Dolphins or what?
No. That we're competing for a Super Bowl.
My confidence level, I mean,
1 out of 10.
I'm on all sorts of wood right now, man.
1 out of 10.
1 out of 10, it's a 9. If you look at our last 9 games, we've lost 1, and it was the Hail Mary. Like, it was a crazy play that we should have won. We were just on an absolute roll. Josh and Diggs are playing phenomenally. Our defense is putting it together. Like, I'm excited. Like, we're beating good teams most of the time. I mean, the last 2 games have been a crappy Patriots team and an injury-prone Denver team. But, I mean, like, we're still beating good teams like the Steelers and the Seahawks. And, we were a play away from the Cardinals. Like, these are all playoff teams, and I'm feeling really good about it. And I think next to Kansas City, we're the best AFC team.
What's crazy is I don't even think Kansas City is your biggest threat. I would say, which I think you said this yesterday, and I've changed my mind because yesterday I think I said the Browns in our text message, and I agree with you. I think it might be the Ravens.
Yeah, dude, the Ravens, I mean, I don't feel like enough people are talking about this Ravens team because, I mean, they had like that really crappy, like a little period in the middle of the season where like they just lost a lot of games. They weren't looking like last year. Like it looked like everyone had figured out Lamar's game. They're getting that back. They're coming back, and I guarantee you if they play the Steelers in the first round of the playoffs, by Pittsburgh, that's easy. They're figuring it out, and they terrify me.
Yeah. I mean, If I'm you, I want to play the Dolphins.
Oh, absolutely. I think I gave you my order the other day. It goes the order in which I want the Bills to play or opponents I want to play in the playoffs is Dolphins, Colts, Browns, Ravens.
That makes sense.
The Colts kind of freak me out because they've got a good defense and Jonathan Taylor could pop off at any moment. But at the same time, Phillip Rivers against this defense doesn't scare me that much. But yeah, and the Browns, if they're healthy and their 3 best receivers don't have COVID, they're a good team. But
I wonder if y'all play at the same time. I was gonna say, I wonder if the Bills play the late game. And then they could see if the Steelers win or not, and then they could rest their people so that you get to play the Dolphins in the playoffs.
I would love that.
Because the playoffs start next week, right? Like, there's not a break.
Yeah, no. Right after this, it's straight into the playoffs.
That's interesting because I wonder if Fitz would still be on the COVID list.
I don't think he would be. I think he'd be ready to roll.
I really wish he didn't have COVID because I'd be very interested to see who would be the starter.
Well, I mean, that going off that is true. Because like I didn't really think about that. I was so quick to like jump on it's gonna be Tua because that's what Brian Flores has done in the regular season, but like it's not the regular season anymore. It's playoffs. You're right. Like he might just come out of the gate and be like, yo, this is Fitz's job right now.
If I'm serious about winning, I'm not playing Tua. Like, I know I just said I feel like you have to, but, like, if Brian Flores legitimately thinks the Dolphins are good enough to compete in the AFC for an AFC championship, you don't play Tua.
See, I'm in a weird spot, though, because, like, what if you play Tua and he just plays out of his mind? Like, think about his confidence, and then you really could get on a run. But, like, if you play Fitzpatrick and, you know, the team loses or, like, they win and then they lose the next round, like, and also like Fitz is better coming off the bench in that situational role where he has to come like save the day. Like I think Fitz likes that stuff.
Oh,
I mean, obviously he'd probably prefer to be starting the whole game, but like I think it like boosts him up that like the team's like, hey, like this guy's not getting it done. We need you in there.
You could tell. I don't know if you watched that game when he actually got put in, but the team was just like, oh shit, we actually have a chance now. Like we have a guy that's going to throw it. Like, I feel like Brian Flores just needs to sit Tua down and go, listen, you're the guy. Throw the ball. Stop being scared. If you throw 4 interceptions this game, I'm not pulling you. So throw the ball. That's what needs to happen, but it's not gonna. So with that being said, what's your we're gonna start with the AFC. What's your AFC championship game look like?
AFC championship is easy. It's 1 and 2. I think it's gonna be Bills Chiefs.
I'm worried about the Chiefs. They have not looked good.
They haven't looked good, and they're benching a lot of people this weekend, and they get the bye. So, like, when Patrick Mahomes actually does have to play, he's going to be – I don't think he'd have to – like, that would be his first time playing in, like, 3 weeks. So, if they play the Ravens, like, good luck.
I'm going to go on a limb here. I think it's Baltimore versus the Bills.
That would be insane, and I
think
honestly,
the Bills win. I'm going to have the Bills from the AFC in my Super Bowl.
You're gassing me up, man.
Ryan, you will not be okay.
I just want you to know, like, I will be the most unsufferable person if the Bills win the Super Bowl. Like, you won't be able to talk to me.
I'm not worried if they win. That's fine. I'm more concerned if they made it to the Super Bowl and didn't win.
I'd probably take off work that entire week.
Ryan, you would not be – like, I'd feel like I'd have to call Angela and, like, make sure everything is okay. Like, you're okay. Like, do you need anything?
You've, like, just put that in my mind, and now I'm
Ryan, I think didn't you cry last year when y'all lost in the wild card?
Dude, of course I did. We were up 16-0.
Yeah, true. That was
we
one
lost
of the
in overtime
jobs I've ever seen in my life. The backwards lateral or whatever, that
didn't cost us the game at all. That was a player trying to make a play.
I know.
And honestly, I want you to – I think I've said this to you before. Yeah. If Dawson Knox was actually ready for that, that would have been game over. That would have been a touchdown. If not a touchdown, it would have put us in field goal range.
Isn't that the same game where Watson, like, broke, like, 6 tackles? Yeah. That play haunts my memory, not even a Bills fan. And I'm just, like, in my head, I just see that play over and over again. So I can only imagine for you.
Yeah, this is rough.
Who do you have winning? Obviously the Bills. You have the Bills from the AFC?
Yeah, I mean, that's the hopeful fan in me. If we play Baltimore, I really don't know if we'd win. Our run defense is suspect. And obviously that's –
if you guys don't win and Baltimore makes it out of the AFC, they get destroyed.
100%. They would get absolutely blasted by whichever team. Like, honestly, like, you pick a team in the NFC, that team would blast the Baltimore Ravens.
No, I think Washington and the Bears, obviously, they could compete against. But even the Cardinals or the Rams, if Jared Goff's healthy, I think they beat the Ravens. But with that being said, I have the Bills. You have the Bills. Let's go over to the NFC. I guess I'll start. I have in my NFC championship, you know, I want to make a wild move, but I'm not going to because I'll tell you afterwards. But mine's going to be the Buccaneers versus the Packers, and I have the Packers winning. Packers going to the Super Bowl.
I've got a similar matchup, but I've got Packers, and you're gonna really think this is crazy because this is the team you hated on. I saw your TikTok the other day. I have the Packers and the Seattle Seahawks.
No shot. They have no defense. And all the people on my TikTok, they're telling me our defense is like top 5. No, your rush defense is. Your pass defense isn't. And Aaron Rodgers would literally throw dots down the field the whole game, and Devontae Adams would have 400 yards. I hate Seattle, and I don't know why, but I have a deep hatred for Seattle.
I don't understand why, man. But
Ryan, I don't understand why either. I can't tell you why. I just don't like them.
And honestly, I mean, your points are very valid, but I just have a gut feeling about a Seattle Miracle run. I can't talk today, but yeah, I have a feeling like it's gonna. I think it's Packers in the Super Bowl, but I think Seattle is definitely going to make it to that NFC Championship game.
You know what's really interesting? Seattle's first matchup is going to be against somebody in their division. It's either going to be the Rams or the Cardinals.
Yeah,
and
that's going to be really good.
I think both of those teams have beat Seattle. I think they've both given them a loss.
Yeah, Cardinals did that one time with that crazy DK chase down.
Yep. I think the scariest team in the NFC, and I hate to say this, is Tampa Bay.
Yeah, and because they're starting to put it together too. They dismantled the Detroit Lions on Saturday.
In the playoffs, you got to score points, and they have 3 of the best wide receivers in the league, and not a terrible defense.
Yeah.
Now, the reason I'm going with the Packers is just because, one, they're going to get home field.
Yeah.
Which is just brutal. Because if Seattle had to go there, that's not good. If the Saints had to go there, it's a blowout. The only team that would, do good in the cold is the Bears.
Yeah.
Washington.
Well, Tom Brady's used to playing in the cold. I know he's playing in Tampa right now, but, I mean, he spent, almost 20 years in New England playing in home games in January.
You're not wrong. But also, imagine the guys that aren't used to it.
Like Mike
Evans. From 65 degrees in Tampa to 15 degrees in I almost just said Pittsburgh. Where is it? Green Bay. Thank you. So, yeah, I have Buccaneers, Packers. I was going to pick the Cardinals. Ryan, I think that if they get in, they're going to make it to at least the second round. They're definitely – I think if they get in, they beat Seattle. It also depends on how healthy Kyler Murray is because no one's really explained what his lower leg injury was, but I was watching that game very closely because I had a fantasy championship riding on it that I lost. But
did you not see the last play of the game?
Yeah, he got hurt.
Yeah, that's what it is. He got his leg bent.
I know, but what's wrong with it? Is it
that's true,
can he not run anymore? Because if he can't run, that limits that team hugely.
Yeah, that's true. I'm so stoked for the playoffs, man. I am counting down the days. It's going to be so fun. And I'm so excited for this weekend to see who we play and how the AFC shapes out.
I'm weirdly excited for this weekend just because there's so much up for grabs that it's going to be
I feel and honestly, the NFL is probably looking back wow, yeah, I'm so glad we raised it to 7 teams can make it because it has never been this wild. There's never been this many teams that can get in like this. The scenarios, like you said, I mean, before the show, me and Alex were talking about the different scenarios, especially for the AFC. And there's 8 different scenarios for all the teams to clinch playoff berths.
Wow, they've really split it up too. I'm looking at the schedule. There's 1, 2, I think there's 8 games in both windows. Or there's 7 early games and there's 8 4:00 games. I like that.
Well, yeah, because there's no Thursday night and Monday night, so they've got everybody playing this weekend.
Yep.
So we kind of glossed over the AFC matchups this weekend. So obviously you talked about the Colts playing the Jags, which seems like an easy win. How do you feel in terms of the other and obviously we spent a lot of time talking about the Bills and Dolphins, but we didn't really talk about, who do you think is going to win that Browns-Steelers game, and who do you think is going to win that Ravens-Bengals game? Do you think the Bengals have a chance of ruining the Ravens? I mean, I don't know if you remember this, but the Ravens got their playoff hopes ruined by the Bengals 3 years ago, which sent Buffalo to the playoffs. Do you
They
think that
did.
happens again?
No, I have a strong feeling it's like Baltimore like 45, Bengals like 13. I think it's an absolute beatdown, and Trace McSorley is in by the third quarter. I'm not kidding. I literally think that they slaughter them. I think the more likely upset is I have a weird feeling that Mason Rudolph's going to come in here and ruin the Browns season.
That would suck so because like up until last weekend, the Browns were like the 5 seed. And then with that bad loss against the Jets last week because all their receivers were on COVID reserve list, they went from 5 to 7. And now with a loss, their
but
playoff drought can continue because, oh, man.
If there was ever going to be somebody motivated as hell to beat this Browns team, it's Mason Rudolph, who took a helmet to the head last year against this Browns team.
I think you might be right about the upset. I've got a weird feeling about it too, but like my heart goes out to those Browns fans because right now they've caught up to our drought. They're at 17 years right now and they're ready to go to the playoffs. And like, I really don't know. Like, I would fear for the lives of many Browns fans if they were this close to smelling the playoffs and then the freaking Steelers kicked them out. Like, oh my God, dude.
To be kicked out at 10-6. It's not like you're 8-8. You're 10-6.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you're kicked out, you're kicked out. It doesn't matter if you barely squeaked in or if you had a 10-win season. Like, that's going to hurt. And honestly might hurt them more knowing that they were that good and that close with a new head coach. And then it's just gone like that. Like, I really hope, and I really do think that this Browns team is one of the 7 best teams in the AFC. I really hope they make it.
I agree with you. Their running game is disgusting.
Okay.
And I'm going to cause all sorts of problems for people. Please turn that down. Thank you. Okay. My bad. Here's an interesting one that I literally just noticed that I don't think we've talked about at all. I think there's a real chance that the Texans beat the Titans.
I was about to say Titans could be – I know that the Colts are that 8 seed now, but in a weird change of events on Sunday, the Titans could find themselves from the 4 seed to the 8 seed. And honestly, nothing would make me happier. Ever since the Titans beat us in week 5 this year, after that stupid situation with COVID and all the trash they talked in 2019, I'm just not a Titans fan anymore. Honestly,
they're not good.
They're not. Derrick Henry is good.
Derrick Henry is good. A.J. Brown is good. And honestly, it's the defense. They don't have a defense.
Dude, I didn't even realize how bad their defensive line was. They have 14 sacks this entire year.
Bad.
You can't win a playoff game like
By the
that.
way,
They will be a first round.
Brian Burns, one player for Carolina, I believe has 7.5, and their whole team has 16 or however many Ryan just said. So, like, I want that to happen. I want everybody to win except for the Titans. I want the Browns to get in, and I want the Colts to get in. The Titans, because I just want Phillip Rivers to go out. You know, I don't want him to have to miss the playoffs and retire. If he's going out, let him go out in the playoffs.
Do it for the kids, man. Especially because I feel like Phillip Rivers was part of what was the year 2004 with Eli and Ben Roethlisberger. He was part of that class, but he's the only one of those quarterbacks that never won a Super Bowl ring. And Eli is probably going to get into the Hall of Fame. Roethlisberger is probably going to get into the Hall of Fame. But Phillip Rivers is probably going to sit on like the scale a little bit because people are going to be torn because he's been part of a lot of bad teams. He's been a good quarterback on a lot of bad teams. And I just feel like he doesn't have the playoff success that those other guys have. So I'm kind of backing you up on this. Like, let's do it for Phillip, man. Like, this is his last hurrah.
How bad if the Bills were to lose in the playoffs, let's knock on some wood, that I would cheer for the Colts if they were in. Just because of Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, Colts and Browns.
I'm also weirdly going to cheer for whichever NFC East.
100%, dude. Football team all the way.
I really want it to be the football team.
Could you imagine, like, if a team without a name, without a logo, without a mascot, just comes into the playoffs and just rips into people? That would be insane.
Their defense is good enough that they could beat somebody.
I know. If Alex Smith is the quarterback, they might have a chance.
They play the Saints. That would be a very interesting game if Alex Smith is healthy.
Wait, what?
If right now, wouldn't they play the Saints?
No, they play the Bucks. It would be the Bucks would have to go. That would suck. They would lose badly. But like,
is there any way that can they move around?
No, they're. I mean, if they win, if they even get into playoffs, they're locked into the 4 seed. But like,
Which would be against the Bucks, right? No matter
yeah,
what.
and I don't think the Bucks. I think the Saints have already clinched the division, so the Bucks are locked into 5. So, if yeah, it's going to be the Bucks. It's going to be football team versus the Bucks.
See, now I don't even know which NFC East team I would want to play the Bucks. Because, like, who would give them the hardest challenge?
I think the football team. I think this defensive line. If they can get to Brady, I think like. What are the Cowboys going to do? What are the Giants going to do to the Bucks?
Nothing. The Giants are quietly building something. They just have to figure out their quarterback situation.
They really are. And honestly, like, I've been very impressed with what Joe Judge has done in New York. I feel like it's kind of going unnoticed, but, like, I think in a year or two they're going to be a good team.
Honestly, I think all of the teams in the NFC East are going to be decent in a couple years, except for the Cowboys. The Cowboys, I think, are really close to having to blow it up completely up.
Yeah, I think
you got to get Zeke out. You got to just do something. Well, you got anything else, man?
Well, I was gonna. Speaking of, teams in a rebuild, I was gonna talk about some people who, might find themselves fired on Monday morning. We've already had Matt Patricia of the Lions fired. We've had Dan Quinn of the Falcons fired. Bill O'Brien of the Texans fired. That's already 3 head coaching vacancies. And honestly, I think there could be at least 5 more by Monday.
I agree. Fun fact, whoever Atlanta's interim coach is right now, he is interviewing today for their actual head coach job.
And honestly, I think he should, be in contention for it because that team was 0-5 before he took over, and they've actually looked good. And last week they gave the Chiefs a run for their money, and they've won some games under that guy. I think that, he's given them a chance.
Raheem Morris is his name, by the way, and he's gone 3-6 since taking over. But that team is also very close to a full-blown blow it up, send Julio somewhere, send Matt Ryan somewhere. Let's rebuild.
Yeah.
All right. So who you got? Who you think's getting fired next? Obviously.
Well, okay. I'll start with my hottest take, and I want you to follow up with your hottest head coach firing take. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to start. And this guy just got hired this last season, but it was the guy that we were just talking about. I think Mike McCarthy for the Dallas Cowboys absolutely has to go. This was a bad hire from the start. I didn't like it from the get-go, and it's only proven to be just absolutely horrendous.
I agree. 1,000% I agree.
The team doesn't play for him. They have no direction. He's not good. He wasn't good in Green Bay for 5 years after they won the Super Bowl. He's not good now. I think that if you can get a guy like Eric Bieniemy in Dallas, which I don't think will happen because Jerry Jones is racist, because Eric Bieniemy is, one of the best head coaches and a person of color. But I don't think they're going to get him. So I think they're going to roll with McCarthy, and they're going to continue to be bad. They're going to continue to lose ticket sales. They're going to lose Dak. They're going to lose Zeke. It's going to be bad, man. They're spiraling. Huh?
I have 3.
Lay them on me.
That are hot takes. Well, I don't know if they're all hot takes. All right, so my number 1's Mike Zimmer.
I don't hate that.
I just
I was on that train at the beginning of the season, but they've shaped up a little bit. I think they really need to get rid of Kirk.
Yeah, but they just extended him for 6 more or 3 more years or something like that. So maybe that one's a little bit hot. That one's pretty hot. I don't think he's actually going to get.
But I appreciate it though, because I think that Kirk right now is a scapegoat, and I think I just kind of played a little scenario in my head when I said that they should get rid of Kirk. I was like, so if they got rid of Kirk and they got a rookie quarterback, how much would this team really change? And I thought with Mike Zimmer at the helm, I don't think it would change that much. So I think you might be onto something. And whether it's I don't know if that happens this offseason. But definitely in the next year or two, I think Mike Zimmer might not be the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings anymore.
Yeah, I agree. I think if they don't make the playoffs next year or within the next 2 years, he's probably fired.
Yeah.
Next, I have Doug Peterson.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. If I didn't say the Mike McCarthy one, Doug Peterson was going to be right there.
And I've genuinely the Eagles fans that we follow on Twitter are behind this. They're down. They won. Yeah. Granted, you won a Super Bowl, cool, but you're running the team into the ground right now.
Yeah. They've ruined Carson Wentz's career. the Super Bowl win was 3 years ago. Like that, we're past that. That's almost half a decade ago. Like it's time, man. Like they're not doing anything significant. They made playoffs last year, but this team is just like bad this year.
Also, just looked up a quote, or just looked up Doug Peterson. Like clicked on him on Google. The first article that comes up is Eagles head coach Doug Peterson says offseason will be geared towards fixing Carson Wentz.
He's not going to get the chance.
I think Wentz is gone. I think Wentz needs to be there.
I think Wentz goes to the Colts. I think they trade him.
I like that a lot, actually. All right.
And I think Frank Reich could honestly fix him. And, honestly, that makes way too much sense because Frank Reich used to be the offensive coordinator for the – oh, yeah, it's over. And that's who was the head coach during their Super Bowl run. Yeah, that's a done deal. Carson Wentz to the Colts. Breaking news. You heard it here first. Screw you, Adam Schefter.
Who else you got?
I think Doug Marrone of the Jets has got to get.
I mean, yeah.
I think if you can get a guy like Greg Roman or Eric Bieniemy or Brian Daboll, a head coach for Trevor Lawrence, you've got to take that chance.
And obviously, clearly the Jets are firing their coach. Clearly the Jaguars are probably going to fire theirs.
Yeah.
I think Anthony Lynn has to go in Los Angeles.
Yeah. And you hate to see that because he has done some really good things as head coach, as the Chargers head coach. And it's also one of those, and it's weird because it's a double standard because, you say when you make a push for like people of color getting head coaching jobs, you like the opposition's always like, well, it shouldn't be about the color of their skin. It should be about who's best for the job. Exactly. And, I find myself here saying like, that's a real shame because there's not enough coaches of color in the league. So I don't really want to say goodbye to Anthony Lynn, but at the same time, if we're going to play by that standard, I don't think he's right for the job anymore.
All right. My last one, a little bit of a hot take, John Gruden.
That's not a hot take at all, man. The idea that they gave him a 10-year contract is ludicrous.
He's not going to get fired, but like the fact that I believe the last 2 seasons they've started 6-2 and they missed the playoffs. Like something is not going right. Like you need to make some adjustments or something.
Last year they were like pretty mediocre throughout the entire
season. First year there? They were 6-2.
I think this was like their first year that Gruden was coaching. That we were all like,
you started 6-2 and you're 7-8 right now.
Yeah, like the skid that they went on has been horrible. Like Derek Carr went to being like a top 10 quarterback this season to like bottom 20. Like it's bad. I never liked the Gruden hire, especially for the 10-year contract. So that's not a hot take for me at all. I'm totally behind that movement.
I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 that I can think of right now, and probably going to be 7 or 8 openings for head coaches.
Well, do you want to hear another one in the AFC West since we were talking about Lynn and Gruden? Sure. I think Vic Fangio. I think that the Broncos have already come out and said that they're going to give him another year, but like if he doesn't put it together next year,
yeah,
I don't know, man. And honestly, like I feel bad for him because I'm on the Broncos bandwagon. I think this is going to be a good team, but Drew Lock was hurt this year. They lost Cortland Sutton like on week 2, I think. Jerry Jeudy's been trying to blossom, but with Drew Lock being hurt, it's just And then the defense has been hurt too, man. It's just so many injuries, and I feel like they have to give Fangio a chance. But his seat's definitely heating up.
All right. Let's say you're a head coach, right? And you're a free agent. And you get to pick between – I'm going to give you 7 teams. You get the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Jets, the Falcons, the Texans, the Chargers – and the Eagles. Which team would you want to be the next head coach for? Also, wait, before you answer that, I'm going to let you think about it. Any chance that Zach Taylor gets fired with the Bengals?
No. I don't. I think they give him one more season, but I think like Fangio, his seat's getting hot. They did win. They've improved. Honestly, how bad the Bengals still are, they still have improved from last season, and they've been without Joe Burrow for at least a quarter of the season. So,
okay,
I like where they're going. But to answer your question,
I'm trying
Um,
to think which one I'd want right now.
what are you going for, Jacksonville?
I think so.
See, I'm not. I'm going for see, and this is what you said earlier. You said that the Falcons are, ready to blow it up. I don't think so. I'm going with either the Falcons or the Chargers. Chargers because Justin Herbert's rookie of the year. They've got Keenan Allen, one of the best receivers. That defense is unreal. Like
Sure.
honestly, like if Anthony Lynn wasn't the coach right now and someone else was, I think this is an instant playoff team. And same with the Falcons, honestly. Like you're telling me that you can't make something happen with a former MVP and Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley? Like
Well,
the Falcons are a good offseason away from playoffs, man.
I think the Falcons, this is sneaky, but I think the Falcons might take Justin Fields.
That would be crazy. Honestly, like
From Georgia, they have the 4th overall pick, and if the Jets don't take him, he's going to fall to them because Miami owns the 3rd overall pick, which would be Houston's pick. So he'd be sitting there at 4 if they wanted him, or you trade with somebody else who needs a quarterback. Honestly, here's the crazy part is the first 2 teams, I don't even think the Jets need a quarterback. So Jacksonville's going to take Lawrence. And then the next team that would need a quarterback is Detroit at 7 or Carolina at 9.
Detroit's got to trade up. Well, okay, let me tell you what I would do if I was in charge of the Falcons. I would trade back and get a guy like Kyle Trask or Ian Book, somebody that can sit behind Matt Ryan for a season or 2.
Yeah.
And then when Matt Ryan's done, they can come in and finish the job.
This is a weird draft order because now that I'm looking at it, there's not a lot of teams at the top that really need a quarterback.
Yeah, I feel like a lot and there's like a lot of I think there's like 5 or 6 quarterbacks getting mentioned as first rounders, like between Mac Jones and Zach Wilson and Trey Lance. Like a lot of these guys are going to fall to the 2nd and 3rd round, kind of like Jalen Hurts did and Drew Lock did in years past.
There's a real chance that Washington and Chicago don't even have to move up. They're at 19 and 20 to get a quarterback.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think they can just kind of sit pretty and wait for it to happen.
This stresses me out, Ryan, because this means Carolina's going to have to make a decision at 9 if we're taking a franchise quarterback or not. And what's crazy is, too, if we lose to the Saints, which will probably happen, we could literally move from 9 up to 3. It just depends on who wins and who loses. My offseason is going to be so stressful.
How much cap do you guys have?
I actually think we have a lot. Hang on.
That's awesome.
I believe that Kuechly and a lot of other people's
are going to clear.
I think it comes off this year. It either comes off this year or next year.
Honestly, you guys just need to spend that all on offensive line and defense. Like you guys need to get some veteran defensive players that can mentor like Yorda Gross-Matos and what is his name? Jeremy Chin? Is his first name Jeremy?
Yes.
Okay. I was like, that didn't sound right in my head. I was like, what is his first name?
Is his name? Hang on. Now that you're saying that.
Justin Chin? No, that sounds weird.
Jeremy Chin, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm looking it up because that sounds right, but like also for some reason now you have me second guessing myself.
This is your player, man. You got to know.
Yeah, it's Jeremy Chin. Okay. I was sitting here like, I'm trying to figure out how much cap room we have in 2021. I believe it is.
You got to – okay, so the key is you have to download SpotTrack. SpotTrack is the funnest, like – this helps me with all my, like, off-season
No, that's what I'm on, but, like, I'm still confused. I believe it is because we have so much dead money that is confusing. We have $10 million in dead money, so I believe we should have, like, $25 million if it all comes off this year. Which is
right now I see 15, but I think that's going to change.
The $9 million in dead money?
Oh, wait. Are you talking about dead money or cap space?
Dead money, because that comes off the books after this year.
I don't know. Right now I see for cap space, it looks like you have 15, which isn't terrible because I think the NFL is also going to raise it up.
It's going to be pretty bad because here's the problem. Taylor Moton, our left tackle, he's a free agent, and so is Curtis Samuel. And it's probably going to be – they're going to have to pick between the two who they want to re-sign. And if it is Curtis Samuel, I swear to God, Ryan, I might throw my laptop out the window because it needs to be Taylor Moton.
Wait, like you want to let Curtis Samuel go?
Yes. If it's between Taylor Moton and Curtis Samuel, they better re-sign the offensive lineman.
Yeah. I think that's a no-brainer. Hold on, let me see. I want to know the dead money.
I know Kuechly is a lot of dead money.
Welcome to our podcast where we spend the time on other apps talking about dead money.
You know?
What'd you say?
Oh, my. Yeah. See, okay. The team has a little over $16 million in dead money. Most of it is because of Greg Olsen, Mario Addison, and Matt Khalil.
Sheesh. What happened with Mario Addison?
He left, but we signed him to a monster contract. He went to you guys.
Yeah, but did you guys cut him?
Yes.
I thought he was a free agent.
No, we cut him at the beginning of the season.
Oh, yikes. Yeah, he's been playing great.
Okay, according to Over the Cap, the Carolina Panthers have an estimated salary cap of slightly more than $177 million, with an estimated cap of $34.5 million when all the dead money comes off. But that's hoping that the dead money. Wait, is this last year? When was this article made? I'm about to just give up and end this podcast because I can't. No, this is March 6, 2020. That shouldn't be last year, right? No, that is last year.
That is last year, yeah.
Okay, whatever. I give up. Do you have anything else for them?
Just pray for Alex. Pray for high draft picks and cap space. But continue to mask up even though 2020 is over. We're still in a pandemic. Stay safe, and hopefully we can have some sports games with fans in the stands.
Yeah, Buffalo playoffs. You 7,000.
I'm so pumped for that, man. Honestly, like me and Sean were both like, want to go, but
I don't think you could get the tickets like that.
Yeah, they gave priority to like all the season ticket holders, and they went in like 2 hours.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. All right, y'all have a good weekend. Stay safe. Happy New Year, and it's been real.